Okay, I'm back. So, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. So, this is a conversation I want to have with people about the lowdown on Michael Cohen. I have done some remote viewings on Michael Cohen, and I do want to share them. So a couple of months back, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, when I started doing these remote viewings, I had a vision of an FBI raid. An FBI raid concerning Trump, and it was in the morning, and it was an office building. I didn't know if it was the Trump organization or where it was. I saw the feds come into an office building. I saw a couple of people working in the building. They were typing, working, and when the feds came into the room, they told people to lift their hands and to step away from their computers. So in the vision, people lifted their hands from the computers, and they were asked to step away from the computers. Then the people inside of these offices were told to go into a particular area. They were taken into an area. It looks like there was some glass. It might have been a Kinko's or a copy editing area. And then, very calmly and very sanely, the FBI asked the people in charge who had the keys. And they began to use the keys with the warrant to unlock files. And then the FBI began to seize files. People were told to stay in a particular area. And that was the remote. So I recorded it. I think it was in June of 2017. So then I did a remote again after that. After the raid on Cohen's offices, I thought, oh, it was the raid on Cohen's offices. So for those people who don't know what happened inside the Cohen's offices, that is basically how it went down. They weren't mean, they weren't cruel. They simply came in, asked people to step away from their desk. They took them into a secured area, and then they asked who has the keys. Those people, one, I believe it was a woman, she started to unlock things, and that's how they got access to things. So now I'm going to tell you what happened when I did the remote about why that raid happened. Prior to the raid, I believe that certain people in the Cohen organization got a heads up that they were about to be raided. And they thought they were going to be very clever, and they thought they were going to be very, very smart. One of the problems that I see with certain people, Don Jr., Eric Trump, is this idea of the skirting of the law and getting away with skirting of the law for a very, very long period of time. So basically, they had a feeling, they had a heads up from whoever or whatever that the Trump organization was going to undergo an FBI raid. That's what happened. So in their infinite wisdom, they contacted everybody they thought was going to be raided. This was after Manafort got raided, and they thought that they were going to be super geniuses. What does a smart genius do? You take everything that you think that is going to be raided, or anything that's incriminating evidence that Mueller might have interest in, and eureka, I'm a genius. I'm going to go store it over at Michael Cohen's offices. So, in their infinite wisdom, they took everything that was incriminating evidence, and then they transferred it all over to Cohen's offices with the idea that he had client attorney privilege, and therefore it was going to be like an embassy. It was going to be like a Trump embassy where the feds could not come in. They were going to be safe at Cohen's offices. So everything went over to Cohen's offices. There was already a lot of stuff at Cohen's offices. So Cohen picks up the phone. Unbeknownst to Cohen, he's under surveillance. He's under surveillance for a number of reasons. He was also in trouble with the New York State attorney. They were investigating him in New York for various different illegal activities, but they began to intercept his phone calls when he began to have conversations with known Russian operatives. And at that point, legally, they can tap his phone. So that's what they did. So he had multiple phones. And he kept switching his phones because he kept being afraid that he was being tapped. And they were tapping him. And being a nice guy who wants to make Trump happy and wanted to prove that he was a loyal soldier, he said, sure, I'll take everything, bring it on over. So they took everything over there. And then, as things got heated up, he received a call to destroy certain documents. Destroy it, destroy it, destroy it. So they sent everything over to Cohen's offices, and then they became frightened, and then they contacted Cohen and said, you need to destroy all the documents. It's getting very interesting, right? So, needless to say, the people that were intercepting the calls and were listening in let Mueller and his team know that they had intention to destroy the documents. So Mueller went to the judge, and the judge issued a warrant. And how it was going to be, theoretically, in Don Jr. and the people of the Trump organization, they were hoping that they were going to get raided, because had the Trump organization been raided, nothing would have been there. They would have had their squeaky clean fake books. There would have been nothing there because it had been cleaned out. Mueller would have fallen on his face, and then Don Jr. could have gone on Fox News and said, look, you see how innocent we are? These silly, 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 crazy Democrats and the silly conspiracies, and we're so innocent, and etc. So that was what they thought, how this was going to play out. So instead, Mueller raided Cohen's office. He went in and took out Cohen. So needless to say, the people that had sent everything over to Cohen's offices were like gobsmacked. They were, not only did Mueller know exactly what he was looking for, but he knew exactly where to find it. And so the message to the Trump team was, I know exactly what you're up to. I've got informants everywhere. You are under surveillance. And I knew precisely what you had planned, and I knew precisely where you put it, which is really terrifying if you're somebody who's breaking the law. Now, when they got there, that is the scene that I just told you about. That is how it went down as I saw it in my remote. Now, what exactly did they take and what exactly did they hand over to New York State? Now, New York State had been investigating illegal dealings, money laundering, tax evasion, money laundering schemes for a very, very long time. And they had a real hard time busting up certain crime families, etc. The New York State attorney, he was doing a lot of stuff that he should not have been doing. One of the things that he was accused of is sexual assault, choking victims, rape, etc. Now, to understand Donald Trump and his fixer, and this hasn't totally been made public to people yet. One of the things that the fixer did was he operated similar to the Russians, which is that he was collecting compromising information of anybody who threatened Donald Trump. And so, with the help of the National Enquirer, they were burying stories, right? They were paying people off and they were burying stories, but they were also blackmailing people. So say, for example, you find out that somebody is doing something that they shouldn't be doing who's an enemy of Trump. You then collect the data, you put it in a file, and then you let that person know, I've got this dirt on you, and if you hurt my client, I'm going to make sure that people find out about it. Well, the state attorney, the person heading up New York who had been engaged in sexual assault allegations, was one of those people. And he was investigating Donald Trump for Trump University. So that was one of the files. So in addition to burying stories and hiding stories, they were also blackmailing people of interest, including the state, the head of the Attorney General of New York, I think that's what you call it, Attorney General, something like that. You know what I mean. The head of the attorneys, the head of the whole gig in New York. This is what he was up to. So it was made public that he had committed these felonies recently. I think about a year and a half ago, it came out that the New York bigwig attorney had been accused of these rape allegations. He was removed, and another woman was put in his place. And so now. So now nothing could be held over anybody's head if they were, and they couldn't be blackmailed by the Trump organization because the guy was gone. He was facing criminal charges. He was removed. And the feds had gone in and they had hired a point person to go through everything to determine what was going to be relevant to Mueller, and anything else was going to be handed over to the state of New York. And that's what they did. They handed over everything to the state of New York, and when they handed over everything to the state of New York, they found all these blackmailed and compromised persons who basically were being threatened by Cohen. Now that's the stuff that Cohen doesn't want to cooperate with. He doesn't want to cooperate, and he doesn't want to assist because he doesn't want to assist in that investigation because that's a state investigation that shows that he and a group of other people were terrorizing the neighborhood, blackmailing people, and really making life hell for anybody who threatened his client, Donald Trump. So that's the real story about what was going on, why the New York justice is looking into Cohen, why Cohen is not cooperating with certain things. I think one of the people that was compromised, who's potentially a blackmailed person, is Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity was one of the people that they had files on. There are other people that they probably have files on as well. Epstein, who was charged with multiple counts of child sexual abuse, sex trafficking. He's I believe his name is Jeremy Epstein. He's one of the people that they had files on, and I believe they also have files on Alan Dershowitz. Alan Dershowitz was also flying and hanging out with Epstein, as was Bill Clinton. So probably it doesn't take a genius to figure out that more than likely all of those people probably have files that were sitting in Cohen's offices, and those are now in the hands of the New York State Attorney. So Cohen is in a lot of legal trouble, blackmailing, bribes, money laundering, threatening people, threatening their families, sending thugs. He's a naughty, naughty boy, and he's done a lot of naughty things. Now, he claims he wants to make it right, and there is some truth to that, but I'm a little bit skeptical because of the extent of terrorizing he did when he was working for Trump. He really terrorized people. However, I do believe, based on my remotes, that he is going to, I will say he adores Ivanka Trump. He felt that he was a brother and a son to Donald Trump. And he was unbelievably loyal to Donald Trump. And because he saw himself as a member of the family in the inner circle, he saw Ivanka Trump as his baby girl. He saw Ivanka Trump, he calls her baby girl in the remotes I've done. And he wants her to come clean and cooperate with Mueller because Mueller already knows everything anyway. I will do a remote on Ivanka Trump. I have done a remote on Ivanka Trump, and I'll let you all know what I saw there. To make a long story short, though, I will say, to have a heads up, that I believe that Kushner will, unbeknownst to anyone publicly, his attorney, Abby Lowe, his attorney is very good. His attorney's name is Abby Lowe. I believe he's already, and has been for some time, negotiating a plea deal, and he's with Abby Lowe, and I think he might even be handing over stuff of interest to Mueller, and I think that may have been going on for a while now. In plain words, what I'm saying is that the energy around Kushner looks like he's potentially been an informant. But I'll go into that in the future. I just wanted to cover this so that people know Cohen, as I've seen Cohen in the remotes and what's going on, and I believe that Cohen will be communicating with Ivanka Trump, she will be the last chip to fall in terms of turning on Trump. And I have a ton of other stuff I can say about who also has spoken privately with Mueller. But I'll go ahead and leave this. That is basically the story with what's going on in the head of Michael Cohen and what was going on with the raid on his offices. Okay, thanks for watching, everybody. This remote, my name is Whimsy. I'm a tarot reader. I'm a doctor of natural medicine. I'm an anthropologist. And I believe there is a science to all of this. There is a scientific explanation for why our brains can do this. Our brain really can do it, and there is a sound and scientific explanation as to why. All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Be well.